welcome to the pop-up studio. I'm Matthew Reinhart. I'm a children's book author, children's book illustrator, pop-up book creator, all this stuff. And I want to welcome you to my studio. I still don't have my toys back up, my Transformers back up. That's going to go back up. It feels naked back there. Anyways, I want to welcome you to my studio. We're really busy right now with a couple of big projects that I'm going to talk about soon. Well, I can tell you a Wicked project, which is really cool, and another big project that is coming. Today, we are going to do a viewer request. They had a request from an old book that I did back in 2006. Let me get this out of the way, called Mommy. And it was a collaboration with Maurice Sendak and Arthur Yorinks. Maurice Sendak did Where the Wild Things Are. Everybody knows him. And we did this book. It was a really weird book. And it was about a baby going through a mad scientist lab. There's a specific pop in here that was requested. And let's see, where is it? It's this pop-up. So this mechanism that moves Mama, the Frankenstein bride, Frankenstein lady. So it is her movement. So we're going to talk about that and how I made that sort of pivoting, standing up movement. It's actually called an asymmetrical V-fold, asymmetrical V-fold. Hey, I just made that up. Anyways, other people may call it other stuff. So that's not the only name. When I'm working on pop-ups, it's hard to like name things because sometimes there's many different elements that goes in to a mechanism. There may be V-fold parts, there may be layer parts. There's all these different things. I don't like to call them a name. Plus, it's hard to keep up with that. I just call it's the thing that does the thing. Isn't that helpful to everyone? So we are going to talk about how to put that together from this book. By the way, this is out of print. I'm sorry, you got to get it on eBay. If you want to talk to Scholastic about reprinting this book, give them a call. I can't do anything about it, but maybe one day we'll be able to reprint this because these are really cool books. Anyhow, so we get started. Oh, just like some standard stuff. For this craft, we're going to just use regular cardstock. We're going to use scissors, maybe an X-Acto knife, a ruler of some sort, tape. I use 2 kinds of tape. I have double stick tape here. You can see I have a lot of different kinds of tape. But we also use something that's very similar to masking tape, this artist tape. All right, so that's what I'm going to use. And I use different colored cardstock just so that you can see how the mechanisms work. Because if I make it all in white, sometimes you can't see if the lights are bright and all this sort of stuff. Let's get started. All right, let's go.
Pop-up masterclass, pop-up masterclass, woo, yeah, pop-up masterclass, woo, with Matthew Reinhart. All right, so let me show you the book. This is the book right here. It's Maurice Sendak's first pop-up book. Actually, I think he had made one pop-up book before this many, many years past, but it's okay. This was from back in like 2006, I believe. And, it's hard to get out of here. All right. So this is Mommy. I'm just going to give you a little tour of it, and then we're going to show the actual pop that was requested for me to talk about. We'll discuss all that later. Anyway, so this is it. And the whole reason behind this book, Maurice had done, it was based on a children's opera that was about a baby being chased by like classic monsters through a mad scientist lab. There's a mad scientist lab. Look, hello. Who let that baby in here? And then there's the baby, Mommy. So it only really had 2 words, Mommy and baby, in the whole book. And there's the vampire looking like all freaky, Nosferatu. He's like, are you my mommy? And then over here, it's like, oh, he puts a pacifier in his mouth. So the baby actually does all this wacky stuff to all these big monsters. Here we go. And look, he's gonna step on him, and then what's he do? He pulls his nuts and bolts out. And then his head springs up. Sometimes some of the mechanisms, this is an older book. Oh, this one's my favorite. I love that mechanism. It's so nice. There's so many weird details in there. So when I was making this book with Maurice and Arthur, everyone loves this one. And I've showed how to make this pop-up before. So this book, anyway, so Maurice wanted to make it. We initially weren't gonna make any new art. He had made art already, and I was just gonna make it animate. Later, they decided, oh, you know what? Maurice is going to do all new artwork. So it was really great that he was able to make new art. Maurice was like, don't worry, it won't take me long. It took him 4 years to finish all the art for this book, but it's worth it because it is so much fun. Look at that. That's so funny. So yeah, look at that explosion of all these monsters on there. And the last pop, this is the pop that I had a request to show how it is engineered. So there's Mommy. She's standing up out of her chair. It's a couple of different things going on at once. This pop-up, and we're going to focus mainly on her sitting up. All right, so this character's sitting up, and we'll look at maybe some of the other mechanisms, but it's mainly her sitting up, or rather standing up. And what's interesting about it is it actually has paper pivots moving this part of her body. And then there's what I'm going to call, now other people may call it something different, this mechanism, but this is gonna be, we're gonna call this an asymmetrical vertical V-fold. All right, that's what animates her and gets her body to stand up and move upward. And it's different than a regular old symmetrical V-fold. We'll get into that. So we're gonna get started. This is the pop that I had the request for. I wanna thank that viewer that asked me for this. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but you know, got a lot going on. So let's get making pops. Mommy, let's go. And we're gonna use this as our base page. I'm gonna make a flap that's almost the same size. This is what we're gonna work from. Right here. There we go. Try that. I'm gonna take my pencil and just mark where the fold is, because sometimes it just helps to be able to see it. This is gonna provide, when we open this, that's all the power. So all the energy that we put into opening the spread, that will make all the other things move. So we are the power to make pop-ups move, right? All right, so we're gonna start off. This is I'm gonna call it an asymmetrical vertical V-fold. So I'm gonna use a different color paper, and I'm gonna show you how I make an asymmetrical vertical V-fold. I'm gonna first just cut a rectangle like this, okay? And then I'm just gonna make sure like these two sides are parallel and this side doesn't matter as much. Okay, so there's our rectangle. This is gonna be the start. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use this corner because we need a 90-degree angle to make part of our V. So I'm going to use it. Let's move in close. I'm gonna line this up so that I make this sort of V right here and here. Okay, so we need this distance, that 90 degrees, and we need to make sure that, let's see, where is my, there we go. We're gonna make sure that this point right here, make sure that it goes right to the edge of our, to the straight edge here. I just wanna cut off that little extra. All right, so there's our 90 degrees, and I'm just gonna mark it. It's 90 degrees. All right, and we're gonna make sure that this is straight. This is here, right? Watch what I'm gonna do. Just gonna cut it off. So I cut that off. All right, so there is what we're gonna put on the base page. We're gonna tape this to our base page. We're gonna make sure that this is perpendicular to here. So this is also 90 degrees. We could use this right here if I really wanted to be perfect. I'm pretty close. It's pretty close. There we go. Just lined it up a little. And I'm gonna use, I use this kind of tape. This is like masking tape. It's just white colored. So, oops, I did it the wrong way. This should be on the opposite side because that's where was that where our character is? Let's look at it. Let's look at our character. Let's see, what side is she? Her body is mainly on this side. So yes, I did it right. Okay, so see those under there? You can't see them, but those are our asymmetrical vertical V-folds. You can't see them under there. But watch, we're gonna make them. So watch this. I'm gonna tape this down, just like that. And then I need to put some tape here. Now watch, when I tape that down, watch how it bends. And see this line here? We're gonna be real close to that. It's gonna find that fold, and it should fold right pretty much along that line. Let's check it out. It did, look at that. It magically did that, look at that. Isn't that cool? Now, I had a little extra tape here, so let's, just like that. Look at that. So, and the reason why I call this a vertical asymmetrical V-fold, so this is technically a V-fold, this whole thing, but this is not symmetrical with this angle. These angles are two different angles. And the reason why I call it vertical is the piece that moves starts out down here, look, and goes up. It goes vertically. It moves vertically. So yes, this moves in a different way too, but the main thing that we want to work with is this edge here. Because what's going to happen is that's going to be what we place the body on. So the body will move up and down. Okay, so I'm going to make a second one of these, and place it over here. Wow, look at magic, magic. I made a second one. All right, so these are the same size and the distance. What's most important with this is that this distance here is the same as this distance. So the height of both of those. So I'm just gonna add this up top. Let's see, I'm gonna make sure that it's just about. The attachment here is gonna be parallel to this one. I'm just gonna put a little more of this tape here. And the reason why I use something that's like masking tape, and I say this all the time in my videos, but I use it because there's some fiber in the tape. The hinge doesn't break. Sometimes, now I love Scotch tape. And by the way, Scotch, if you wanna sponsor me, please sponsor me. I really mean it. But if you use this kind of tape over and over and over and over again, sometimes it will crack. So I don't use this on prototypes as much, but you can. You can. Remember too, I'm really rough on things. All right, so I've got two of these, and we're gonna watch this. As they open and close, they move in tandem. Look, it's like two, they move together in tandem. So now, what we can do is we can put a structure on top of this. This is gonna be our body for our mama, our standing character, I should say. So I'm just gonna grab this piece of paper. I'm gonna cut this out, and we're gonna place this on top. Now, I think I had it like this because I thought, oh, maybe the head would be up here. But what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to have this on the bottom. And I'm going to take some more of my tape, and I'm going to just put it on the top here. Make sure I cut it a little so it fits. But so I'm going to put a little, and this is sticky side up. And I'm going to do that, the same thing for right there. Okay, see what I did? And now I'm just going to put this, for right now, I'm just going to put this on here and tape it down. Make sure. See how I kind of press it there? Now, look at this. This should open and close. Oh, we're coming to a problem. Look at this. See how it wants to go up and down, but look, it's getting caught. And you know what's happening? This edge is getting caught here. So very easily fixed. So I'm just gonna cut some of this off. All right, so let's see that. I just cut a little of that off. Let's see, ooh, that helps. That helps with that side, but we still need to do a little bit of trimming. Let's trim this up. Sometimes you have to look at how your pop-up closes and opens. I might try a little different there. Maybe I'll cut that a little like that. Because what's happening is this edge, oopsie, this edge here is hitting. Okay, so that's good. Let's check out that. See how it's just folding right over there? Perfect. So now that's working. So now this is the body, and let's look at our original pop. Oops. So look, there is the body going up and down, just her torso, not her neck, just the body. And see, that's it going up and down. Right, like that. Okay, let's get to making the legs move. I'm gonna leave that open. Okay, now we need to make the legs connect to the base page. What I'm gonna start with is I'm gonna make a hole, like right about here. And maybe what I'll do is I'll make another hole right below it that is about the same size. Now you could use, I should have used this. This ruler has a circle stencil, which makes more sense for me to use, right? I was pretty close. Now I'm gonna use my X-Acto knife very carefully to cut out that hole, like so. Remember when you're cutting stuff out, don't cut towards your finger. I just did that the other day and look, I sliced off my finger. So don't do what I did. And then for here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little something underneath this so I don't cut a hole into that. We don't want that. You could also cut it separately. See how I'm cutting away from the finger that's holding that piece of paper? Okay, so there's our two holes. We'll cut them out. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's start to the next part. All right, so now I'm just gonna put this aside. What I wanna do is I wanna make the legs, if you'll notice that when we look at her legs on here, they're in two parts. There's one part, see, look at there. See that little hole? We're gonna make a pivot point on the legs, and we can't see it here because it's underneath here and it's glued, but let's see, ooh, I gotta look under her dress. Ooh. If we look under there, look, there's that hole. And see that little pivot there? That pivot? We're gonna make one of there, and we're gonna make one in the ground. So we're gonna have to make two pieces that connect, that make the upper leg and the lower leg. So let's do that now. And we want to make sure that these pieces, that they're slightly, we don't want it to be completely straight when it's opened, when it's in this flat move. And notice too, these pop-up are built, they're built flat, right? Okay. We don't want both leg parts to just be completely straight. We want it to be slightly angled, because sometimes if it goes completely straight and then it closes, it could go this way, and we don't want to make her look like a chicken. We always want to make sure that they always go outwards. So, okay, so we're making the upper leg piece. Okay, so we've got this. This is gonna be the upper leg right here. Now watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a hole down here that is the same size. You know what I should do? I should just trace this. Just wanna make sure it's around the same size. So that size, and then at the top, we're gonna make the connector for the ratchet, or excuse me, for the pivot. It's gonna be like a mushroom, folded mushroom tab that's gonna go in. So watch what I'm gonna do. Take my scissor, blade, I'm gonna cut these out, just like so. And I may have made some lines on there that are, let's see, I'm gonna erase what I'm gonna keep. These lines are gonna fold. That's gonna fold inward like that. Oh, and then I'm gonna cut that out. I got a new blade. Be very careful, please don't cut yourself, Matthew. So that's the upper leg. And let's move in closer and see how this is going to attach, because it's important to kind of see how that's gonna work. So this is gonna go in this hole, and you wanna make sure that the distance from here to here is a little less than that. You want it to be a little loose. So here we go, we're gonna put this in. Oops. And and what I do is I unlock that so it's locked in. So now, look, as this moves up and down, look at that leg. If we have something in here that connects to it, then it should fit. So let's start designing that other leg piece, the lower leg. I'm gonna use a different color so we can see it. All right, and I'm gonna kind of draw a little on there so I can know the length. What I wanna do is I wanna make sure that, there we go, that's about right. So I wanna make sure that our mushroom tab goes through there, okay? And we're gonna make another mushroom tab on this one, actually. We're gonna make it right about there so that it can make that distance. We're gonna see if that works. If it doesn't work, then we'll keep experimenting. So this is the shape of the leg here. And just like before, I'm gonna make two, but only, I'm gonna make a mushroom tab here, and I'm gonna also, but unlike before, I'm gonna make a mushroom tab up here. So you can kind of see where I'm gonna make that. Let's cut this out. Now I'm doing this rough and ready. I may make a big mistake, but I wanna show you the basics of this, but there will be I'm not gonna post a template that you follow. The whole idea of me doing these master classes is to show you the basics and the concept behind the mechanism and my thought process behind it, so that you can do your own in your own way, right? So I'm teaching you, this is like, you're in my class, right? All right, let's take this piece. We're gonna fold it. Now, this is the moment of truth, because it may not work. It may not work completely right. By the way, it's okay if it screws up. If it screws up, no biggie. We'll figure out another way to fix it. Make it work. That's what it's all about. Kind of like experimenting, learning about what works and what doesn't. And then, if it doesn't work, then you figure it out. All right, there we go. It's through. Let's check. Let's see if this works. Look at that. Oh my God, it worked on the first one. Is that the coolest? Now, one of the things I did to keep our leg, rather than putting the mushroom tab through on this knee point. Oh my God, I can't believe we did that so fast. Like, I didn't do it this way because look what happens. It doesn't have something pushing, keeping this part of the knee down. So that's why I insert the mushroom tab in through the knee hole this way, because this this keeps the knee from bowing outward. Oh, it just did it there as well. What are we going to do to fix that? Well, I have an idea. Did I do that right? Did I do that right? I just had this fixed. No, it was just working perfectly. Let's see. This is what happens with pop-ups sometimes, guys. It works and then it doesn't work, and you got to figure out why. Okay, I see why. I think something's catching under here. It was catching on this little bit here. You really want to make sure that when you cut out those circles, that they're rounded. See, it got caught in the little area there. That's what was causing the knee. There we go. So what I did was I just kind of rounded it out. So really make sure that those holes that you cut, there are no jagged edges, and that's my fault. All right, but I have another way to flatten it out to make sure that leg doesn't do that. Okay, so now here's the problem with what we're doing. Sometimes that bows out. What are we gonna do to fix that? Well, I'm gonna show you. First, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put something on the base to keep this pushed down. I'm just gonna put a piece over this. It's gonna represent the foot or feet or whatever. It's just gonna be something that's kind of shaped like this. And I could make it look more like a foot if I want to reboot. Okay, what it's gonna do is I'm gonna tape it down, but it's only gonna be taped down here, and I'm gonna use, I'm just gonna use double stick so it's sticky on both sides. I'm gonna fold it over onto itself. I'm gonna make sure that this sticky part doesn't hit, it's gonna be pretty low. It's just gonna be that ankle piece. Let's see if that works. So see what that does? It gives it space, but it keeps this from pushing upwards. And the other thing I'm gonna do, there's more. Like if I don't like seeing this area right here, maybe I'll take some other cardstock. I'll make a little kneecap to cover that area. Maybe that's just for aesthetics. And see, I'm just gonna put a little double stick right there. I'm gonna make sure that I'm just gonna cover it like that. So now it's moving and we can't even see. And you know what I might do too? I think I'm gonna make something to cover this area up so we don't see that either. Now I could do one of two things. I could put a skirt on here to cover that part of the body up, or I could continue this part of the leg. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna make a rounded part here. I'm just gonna put I'm gonna put a double stick right there. Make sure it doesn't interfere with the pivot mechanism. And I'm gonna stick this on top of it. Like that. Now what? Now what did I do? I just learned something. That's not a good idea, because look, it catches. Maybe if I press it down, it won't catch. Nope, it still does. So let's look at that. Maybe that's not the best solution. Let's take it off very carefully. It's not the best solution. So I guess it is a better solution to put it on the waist. So let's try that. There are times when you do stuff and it messes up and you just try something else. You gotta try something. Now I don't have to do anything, I don't think, but I just want it to look pretty. So I'm just gonna do this. See if that works. That's better, look at that. That is so much better. Okay, let's add more. Let's look at this again. So there we go, there's our body moving up, and so there we've seen that. Let's take our pop-up out. Look at that. It's moving up just like that. Now she has arms, and those are just V-folds added on. What's cool is, let's look, we can add other, like see there's a V-fold under there to move her head. There's a lot of different ways you could do that. Right now I'm just gonna focus on what we've got here and how we can add to this to make our character better. So what I think I'm gonna do is this part here, I'm gonna add a shoulder to that. So I'm gonna and what I mean by that, a moving arm on that side. So what I wanted to do is I just cut a little area off so that this is all free. And I'm gonna also cut there. Okay. So see what I did? I just sort of gave myself more space there. And let's just take another piece of cardstock, and we are going to add an arm. And the arm's gonna come up kind of like our mommy did. Let's see, do I like right there? Let's see, where am I? Just trying to see. I'm gonna make a shape like an arm. Now, I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna try it. That's what it's all about, right? Okay, there's the arm. It's kind of a big arm. They've been working out. Here, let's attach this arm. And I'm gonna put a little double stick right here. See where I did that? Just right there. I'm just gonna stick this arm on here. Let's see if this works. Look at that. Now I'm seeing something I don't like. It's hitting in weird ways. So let's move up the arm a little. That's better. That's much better. Now the proportions are a little weird. Like this is a long torso for that arm. So maybe what I'll do is, what I could do is I could move this down. So I could just very carefully pull this up. Hopefully not rip too much. There we go. And I think I'm just gonna move this down just a bit. All right, so I moved this just down a little, just so I could get a little bit better proportion. And what I'll need to do again is kind of shave a little off this edge, just to clear, so our arm will clear this edge better. It's gonna be swinging over that edge, so you wanna make sure that there's clearance along this edge. Let's put this arm back. We had it something like that. Let's see how that goes. Now that's a little better. I'm gonna put it like, let's see what that does if I do that. Will that work? Oops. Let's see. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, I see a problem. Look, it's hitting right there. Here's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Now, we just have that arm. That looks about right. And it just needed an angling. So I'm gonna kind of angle the arm upwards, and maybe I'll just redo that arm a little, the end of the arm. See if that looks good. Look at that, it works. And watch, see when it closes, it doesn't hit that lower asymmetrical V-fold. Might do a little, because this is kind of weird looking, I'm just gonna cut all that. Now you might ask, like, well, what could this be behind the character? You don't have to use colored cardstock. You could use whatever you want. I'm just doing that to show you, all these different pieces that go together. One of the things that could happen, now I'm gonna tell you right now, let's make some strengthener pieces for these triangles. Both of this, even though this isn't a triangle, but this shape. Just because sometimes those can bend, and we wanna make sure that they have strength. Those especially for those asymmetrical vertical V-folds. So I'm just making sure that this is 90 degree. I'm gonna stick this in here kind of like this, and just kind of trace this edge so it knows, so I can make one. There we go. That's gonna go, it's just gonna tape in right there, underneath, on top actually. What I'll do is, I'm gonna use some double stick, turn it over. You could also use glue if you really wanted to. Just gonna take a little longer. Double stick is like instant, right? And we all can't take waiting. Just can't take it. Right on top. And all that did was it's just strengthening that V, and we're gonna do the same for over here. I'll just use this corner here. Because we know it's 90 degrees. That should about fit. There we go. And just put some double stick on there. Put it on top. Now it's nice and strong. Look at that. Perfect. All right, so this is our mechanism right here. Now, if we wanted to add like a little V-fold under there, we could do that for the other arm, if that's really necessary. So if you'd like to see me do that, let's see. What do I want to do? I just want to make a little V-fold. So I'm just going to do something like that. So see, it's like about a 90 degree angle there. And I'm going to fold it in half. So see, that is a V-fold. See? In fact, I can cut it off so it looks more V-like. There we go. I'm going to tape it underneath here. Maybe the best thing to do is pull this up. And where did my little V-fold go? There it is. Come back here. Let's tape it in. So we're gonna just pull this up very carefully. We're gonna line up the center fold of our V-fold, and along that fold line that's created, along where it's attached. You guys have learned V-folds. There is a V-fold masterclass that I did quite a few years ago that's really good, that you can check out on my channel. So feel free. And then we're going to tape this body part back on there. All right. Sometimes we have to take apart our pop-ups to make them better, right? Okay. So now look, there's a V-fold under there, and we can put another arm there. Okay. I cut out this shape for my arm, and what it's going to do is I'm going to show you. We're going to tape it just to this upper triangle of our V-fold here, which is going to be a little difficult to see. So what I can do again is, all right, so I pull it up, and I'm just putting see how I'm just folding it in? So it's only on this area of the triangle, and I'll draw over it so you can see there's the fold. So just in that area. And I'll put the arm in there. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. So it might work, it might not. We might have to do some changing. So that's that. And we tape this back down. This tape is starting to not look so good, so I'm just going to replace it to attach the upper torso. There we go. And the arm on the other side goes up. Let's see if that works. Look at that. 2 arms, both going up. Look at that. Oh my God, that's so cool. Okay, and now let's just put a head on there. I think that would be a good idea. Here's our little head. And it's gonna be just a side profile because the character is kind of going that way. Just gonna put a head right there. Right here, just gonna put it up here. Look at that, that's pretty amazing. That's really nice. Maybe I'll put the head a little taller so you can see it better. And separately. There we go. Look at that. That is our movement. So let's look. Let's compare. Now, like I said, in the original book, it's much more articulated, but we don't have the time to go through. I just mainly wanted to get this leg part and the upper movement. Oh, look, there's. And this is the one that's, look at that. It's basically the same. In fact, our other arm is better than this one. Now, we don't have the moving head. And we don't have this part of the chair. That's easy. That's just a layer. But that's the same movement. Look at that. And it has the nice pivoted legs. And these, remember, what are these called? These are asymmetrical vertical V-folds because it moves our piece vertically or up or down, whatever. You could use them upside down if you want. Oh, I'm falling downward. Ah. Anyways, can you believe it? We did this. It's complicated, but it isn't. As long as you start to get this, if you understand how these asymmetrical vertical V-folds work, and then figuring out the pivot, don't be discouraged if you get it wrong the first time. I was lucky that these worked the first time pretty well. I've also had like 20 some years of doing this, so I can eye it and do it, but don't be discouraged if you don't get it right the first time. Being a creative and making these kind of books or any sort of creative job, I mean, it's a journey and we're learning along the way, and it's okay to make mistakes. It really is. I love mistakes. All right, so that's it. Well, here it is. That's what we made today. Look at how cool that is. And thank you, everybody, for doing this pop-up with me and doing the masterclass, whatever. Hey, on your way out, could you do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button down below? It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm, and it gets our videos out there. Also, feel free to comment and let me know. You like this? You don't like it? You got ideas for future stuff? I listen. It takes me a little time, but I listen. So please give me your feedback. I love you all, and I thank you for being there for us. We're here because of you, and I love you. This is Matthew Reinhart right here saying, be kind to a stranger, think creatively, and also, as always, keep it poppin'. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, I love getting up and popping. Bye, guys.